but believe me, it is flapping. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to
to
the
the
flag
flag of the
of
United
the
States
United
of
States of
America,
America, to the republic
the republic
republic
for which
which
it stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
one nation
under
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 God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
and
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
as you were. Good evening, everybody. Do we have any, we'll do roll call. There I am.
I'm here.
I see Matt is here. I hear Laura Jones is here.
Yay.
Alan Kibbe is here. Jeff Mangles is here.
Present.
Chris McDonald is here. Mike
Present.
Matthews.
Here.
Mike here? Yeah, there he is.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Pinto.
President.
Chris is here. Wow. And vacancy is not here. So that's good. Our missing person is still missing. It's a good thing.
We have Mr. Stedman here present.
You're Mr. I thought you were John Pinto. Oh, there's Mr. Stedman.
Alter ego.
I'm doing well. So we have a quorum. Everybody is accounted for. Immediately, we have public comment tours.
We actually don't have anyone watching the meeting right now. So unless anyone who we can see would like to comment, I don't think there's anything.
Wow. Pretty amazing. That's we're doing such a good job that nobody thinks they need to tell us what to do. April 24 minutes then. Do we have any let Lori lead that?
If there's no comment for change, I'll put a motion to approve. I did have one.
Yeah, I
bullet
already
point
did that.
on
Yeah, I'll second that. I'll second that motion. Thank you.
For what now?
All in
Minutes?
That's a
favor?
To
that's a
approve the
motion to
minutes.
approve the minutes.
You okay with that, Lori? Mike?
Okay.
The minutes are approved. All right, moving right on into the application review committee, John?
Yes, thank you. We have, let me see if I can get rid of some of this extraneous stuff here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first application on the agenda is that from 220 Gregory Boulevard, which is Shore and Country Club. This is a coastal site plan application from them, and they propose to construct an addition to an existing accessory structure. An addition will be used as an electrical room, and the entire structure will be made FEMA compliant as far as flood compliance is concerned. And then the proposed renovation, as described, will not disturb any around Charles Creek or degrade any water quality or alter the circulating drainage patterns within Charles Creek. And there's no impact is expected on the intertidal flats and coastal resources and residential recreational boating. The application was submitted to us from the standpoint, I guess, to see whether it's consistent with the harbor management plan. And this is dealing primarily with a structure on land. And the only thing I can probably discuss is that worrying about rising tide levels and whether that is going to be above the grade, if it's going to be FEMA compliant, above the grade, so that no flooding occurs, so that electricity and water do not mix, type thing. Other than that, I don't know if we can make any other comment. Anybody want to add to that?
Records show that Alan Kibbe is recused from an opinion on this because he's a member of Shore and Country Club.
Thank you, Alan.
I think you can say.
John, was there an associated map or a location, or is it just?
Yeah, let me, let's see, Lori, let me, hold on, let me see here if I can.
I apologize. I didn't see any attachments on that specific one.
Oh, yes, all right, hold on, let me see.
It was on the city website.
Share screen. Let's see, do this. Where's that here? I had the site up here now.
I have it open if you want me to.
Yeah, I want here. Let me see, share.
There you go.
No, you see that? No, that's not it. Hold on. Stop share. And let me see if I can pull this up again here. Oh, here it is. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's it here. Okay, so this is dealing with Shore and Country Club. What we're looking at here is where the existing building is and where the addition is going to be here. And then there's going to be an underground connection, I guess, from the utility poles or whatever here, service to this area over here. Other than that, see if I can move that over here. How do I move this here? Oh, here we are. Nope. Yeah, well, that's that. I guess that is the plan here. And as far as the construction is concerned, I don't know how other than we can comment as far as I guess would be consistent with the plan based on following any the building codes.
Reducing the vulnerability to coastal flood.
And then again, reducing the vulnerability to coastal flood hazards. If there's be FEMA compliant with regard to putting this new electrical unit facility adjacent to the water. You can see running here. Anybody want to any further comment or?
Is this new electricity being added or?
I guess there was a we don't have anyone here from Shore and Country to discuss this. I get from what they discussed that there was a electrical unit, a room there that they had, which has apparently been upgraded to what they want to do. Let's see if I can get, so here.
Yes, the floor elevation 16'3".
Yeah.
No, 16.3 or 5.
So this is the proposed room in here. And certainly higher than, I guess, certainly the floodplain here. So as far as I can see, is that they're certainly FEMA compliant as long as they follow any kind of necessary building codes that we have, that the city has with regard to building such an electrical facility right there. I don't see any other comment that we can make. All right.
Yeah, I don't have any comments.
So if anyone, would like to make a motion, perhaps we can find it, consistent with the plan and that they plan to avoid any kind of what do we call it? Like flood, not flooding, but adverse impact on the harbor. Adverse impact on the harbor with regard to placement of this utility room. Is FEMA compliant, that they maintain FEMA compliance as far as their construct is concerned.
I'll make a motion for that, Joe.
All right,
All right, I'll second that.
think of that. Okay. Any other all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? And we have one recusal. Right, which is Mr. Kibbe. Okay. Now, the second application is an amendment. Wait, oh, stop sharing. Okay. Is an amendment to the residential building heights that was sent to us, and that was also attached. And there was a text amendment that pertains to the residential zones and the CD4 zone, which affects parcels contiguous to the harbor. And apparently this is going to be discussed by Mr. Kleppen at a June public hearing. The only thing after reading the amendment that they plan to have, we some years ago had comment with regard to buildings in around a village district. And I'm just wondering if some of that language that we have in the village district can pertain in this region here with regard to maintaining vistas or views, for example, of the harbor, and have, because they're talking about having structures at certain height, and that they abide by any let me see if they have here. They have. See if I can have that here. Let me. Let me see that here. This is. These are the previous proposals that they had. That's in the village district here. With regard to a guidance, let's see, where is it here? They have building amendments. This is what's in the comments and the requirements as far as having a village district here. Building massing form and scale shall be compliant to and respectful to the patterns of a traditional maritime village architecture as shown in appendix. But then they go down to here and they say, with regard to modifying building height, proposed buildings or modifications to existing buildings shall be consistent with the scale and maritime theme of the area as indicated in the appendix that have functional or visual relationships to the proposed building or modification. These are already what's in the section that they have for building in a village district. But we don't know, as far as I know, whether any of the proposed changes that they plan to take place will be in a village district. And I thought perhaps if they would follow, again, if it is in a village district, that they abide by the same requirements that they have placed in that just facade design in relationship to existing context. The facade of the primary building elevation of new construction or substantial rehabilitation shall be compatible with the facade design of traditional maritime village. So if they plan to do any building in the area, that they abide by what's already in the what we have made comment in with regard to the village district, as far as building in those areas near a maritime near the shoreline. That's the only comment that I can think of, other than we agree with the comments that they have in that document that they have. I can pull it out. Let's see if I have that here.
Yeah, John, it seems to me they're what they say is they're reverting to the prior requirements.
Well,
Says
I don't
we feel
know
the best
if the
we
prior,
feel the best approach is to revert to how it was regulated previously.
well, I don't know.
In the long run, this will be easier for the design professionals and the public to understand.
Well, that's yes, but I'm not sure if the village district section, as far as building, was indicated in that planned amendment.
The
It's-
text amendment would not affect the village district. That's a separate overlay zone, so this.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah,
It's for
that's what-
single families, but if it is in a village district, they would still have to adhere to the village district requirements.
Okay, so then we would then have no further comment with regard to the amendment that they plan to go ahead, because I basically didn't see anything that the Harbor Management Commission would have any concerns about. Let me put it that way, other than, as I said, if they do build in a village district, that they abide by those previous requirements. So Amelia, you're saying that what they're proposing right now has nothing to do with building in the village district?
No, this wouldn't change anything to do with the village districts. It's just how we measure the height of single family houses is under the new regulations. It's just proving to be very difficult to enforce and regulate and make. It's hard for people to comply. So we're going back to how it was done prior to February 19th with no change to any village district standards, just how height is measured for single family homes.
Oh, okay. Other than, the only thing I can say is that we have no comment with regard to the amendments as presented.
No comment or no objection?
No objection, rather, yeah, no objection to the amendment as presented.
I'll make that motion. I don't have any objection.
Yeah, right. Anyone want to second that?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
Okay, and then all is in favor then, right?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Again, okay, so that puts that, and then the last one, we were discussing some, and it's not particularly an application on the agenda, but it still deals with 55 Smith Street. And I think the commission should be brought up to speed as to what's going to be happening up there if the number of barges that they indicate will be brought up, was 10 to 12 barges will be per month, will be brought up in that area. And the plans that they had submitted previous to us to look at, talked about, let me see if I can pull it out here. Yeah, I have that here. Let's see if am I still sharing?
Yes, you're scrolling, John.
You
Yeah,
are.
okay,
You're
see,
sharing.
okay, yeah, there we are. So the plans that they submitted to us are here. And it looks a little blurry there. I can clear that up. But the plans that they submitted, you can see here, this represents the barges on the side of Divine. And this is the barge, these are the barges here that they proposed to bring up as far as ONG is concerned. So we have 4 barges located here in the channel, the area here, with a 40-foot diameter here. Now that that suggests that the barge size here is going to be 35 foot. They put a 35-foot barge here, 35-foot barge here. But we know that's not the case in what's happening now, because we have, if you look here, let me see if I can pull those up here. Where's it? Right here, diagrams here.
That's mine.
Yeah. Let's see. Could we see that? Could you see the photos on there? Is that displayed?
No.
No? Okay, hold on.
Nope, still the same drawing.
Yeah, hold on. Let me,
You know, I got kind of disconnected there, but I kind of rejected having this conversation. We've already acted on our the camera referral for this, and so I don't know that this
well, we're not
Conversation.
gonna make any issue out of it. I just want to alert the commission of what.
it's really not an application review item, John. This is really just throwing out our 2 cents, which I think we've missed the opportunity to do in this regard, and that was, this question has never been asked of us.
Might I say something, John, if you don't
All right.
mind?
Yeah,
So
with,
just-
all right,
just-
Alan,
Just briefly, because the letter that was sent was good, but it also, the commission reserved its right to provide additional information if, when additional information may become available, or when the commission sees something that's important. And I think that what's important is that the drawings that were submitted to the commission are not accurate, because they show barges with a 35-foot width, and it shows barges flush to the bulkhead. Now, the harbor master has talked with the towing company, and the barges are 50 to 55 feet wide. And when we observe the tie up to the bulkhead, they're not flush to the bulkhead. There's a separation there. So this doesn't change the finding that the commercial use and the use of the channel and the water dependent businesses is consistent with the harbor management plan, but it has to be managed in a way that there isn't a undue encroachment on the federal channel. But the drawings that were submitted are not correct.
what they have up there right now, these are 2 barges here. These are 55-foot width barges right here
According to what the harbor master learned from the towing
from
company,
the towing company.
and they're not flush to the bulkhead.
Yeah, you're right here. That's right.
So even though what was
Sure.
looked is a coastal site plan review for the upland use, that upland use can't function unless the barge operation can function properly. And that requires management, and the Harbor Commission is responsible for managing the federal navigation project locally in accordance with the Corps' open to all and no encroachment policies. So that it doesn't change the finding, but there's additional information that we've learned since that letter was written, and the drawings
What have you
are
learned, Jeff?
that the
What
drawings are
have you
not,
learned since then?
the drawings show 35-foot wide barges, and the barges aren't 35 feet wide.
Well,
Those are
I'll have to-
Divine's barges, so those aren't even, that isn't even part of.
No, but they what they did when they
Well-
made the drawing, they made 35-foot barges on Divine side as well.
Sure.
They put 35 foot here and they put a 35-foot.
But, you know,
Is Do we think Divine
hate to-
Borders is encroaching on the channel? In which case, that's something we should direct the.
That's
Harbor-
That's correct. We're gonna need to, we need the input of the harbor master and a deputy harbor master, which is gonna have to basically police this area if those increased number of barge traffic is going to occur. So somewhere along the line, it's up to the commission to perhaps maybe call their attention to, yes, you can bring barges up in that area, but according to what your business is all about. But again, you can't have barges side by side working concurrently.
The harbor
Sure,
master
but
has
that
invited.
is not, that is either Divine's problem or it's ONG's problem. It's, you know, because we see a picture of some time in the past of two wide barges, there doesn't mean that they're always going to be wide barges, and they can't be if someone else is tying up across the channel. So, I mean, the point is, this is not anything that we can control or vote on or regulate here.
So,
I think that
but
from my point of view, I'm talking from my point of view, I think that you could write a letter to Divine Brothers and say, you know, please be advised that, you know, we've just seen applications for ONG's use of the property across the way, and just give you a heads up that the river can't accommodate both sizes of barge, and yours are two. You guys have to work together. I don't know that it has to be a confrontation or a war of letters or anything like that. I think it's a very simple solution. It looks like Divine is working outside of their
Yeah.
what they've been able to do in the past because of
there was
the
nothing over there before.
nobody was across the channel, so they
There's a void. They filled the
wider
void.
barges.
Right. They filled the
I-
void.
The Norwalk Boat Club has been advised that they can contact the Corps of Engineers Regulatory Division to make a complaint about this, because it's their problem in part. Doesn't mean that it
Of
can't.
course,
It doesn't.
That-
mean-
that's
nobody's
exactly the reason-
designing
Yeah.
that. That's all correct.
No, Matt,
It's just that I don't know what the problem is right now. Divine is using larger barges, it seems, because they can, and there's no conflict across the channel. Obviously, that's going to change. So I'd be more in favor of giving Divine Brothers a heads up and say, "Look what's coming, guys," and put them on notice that they're going to have to, as ONG ramps up their operation, that they're going to have to adjust theirs to be in compliance.
And the ONG representative has said that ONG should not be penalized by the actions of Divine in terms of.
No, I agree, but I think that I think that rather than trying to write letters back and forth, our mission should be, if you send Divine Brothers a letter saying, hey, you know, in case you're not aware, they're going to start operating barges across the way at their formerly barge-friendly facility, and
well, they're gonna have to
have
abide
some
by,
effect on the kind of barges you're using, and then let them work it out, because it can't be worked out with the schedule, and
No,
I
but
don't think it has to be become a court case. I think people are willing to be flexible to maintain their spot on the river, and to work out of those areas.
well, I think it's up to us to sort of warn them or advise them that they can carry out their operation as indicated. But if any barge is left in the channel and encroaches the channel, then our harbor masters are going to be running up there with a fine.
But that's the issue that we're trying to grapple with now, and Bruce has asked, we've asked a representative from DEEP to visit this area and provide advice as to what the harbor master's authority is if there is a problem that cuts off the Norwalk Boat Club. So that issue of what role can the harbor master play, or should the harbor master play in and the police department in identifying or correcting this problem, especially if it's brought to the attention of the harbor master by the Norwalk Boat Club. So that role of the harbor master requires some guidance from DEEP, and Bruce has reached out to DEEP to see if he can get some assistance, and has asked the DEEP guy to come down and take a look at this area.
But our stipulation would perhaps be that barges can operate in this region here, but they can't coexist, you know, side by side and block the channel. If they block the channel, then that's when the harbor master is gonna have to come up and do some enforcement.
And what does he do then?
That's the issue. That's the issue. So that's what I thought, and I apologize. I didn't mean to, to raise any issue here with, but I think the commission should be well aware of the issues that might be facing in the future. That's
Yeah, I
basically.
appreciate that, John. I don't know if there's anything that we can do directly other than encourage these people to talk
Right.
together a little bit to make it go down easier. And I think that, there might be some value in us the commission just sending a letter to the Divine people saying, hey, by the way, we know
Well,
you've been there for a long time.
I'm sure.
Yada, da, da, da. But
Yeah.
these guys across the river are going to be back in operation. You should be aware of that because you're going to have to work together so that you can do what you need to do and still accommodate the Norwalk Boat Club.
Yes.
I think that's and certainly Bruce Lavallo has the way to follow this up through the
Yeah, well,
the
like I said, I think he's contacted.
Army Corps and Deep. This is
Is it Kevin Zavoy? Kevin Zavoy? Kevin Zavoy will probably be coming up, and then I guess we'll sit down and chat with him. All right, I guess that other than that, I have no other comment. I know, Matt, I don't know, do you have any other comment?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I want to make sure that you guys got, your opinions discussed. And Alan, this is something I was talking with Dr. Pinto earlier today about, only because I went up there on my boat for a site visit and basically was kind of shocked that it's that small of a space that, the pictures weren't, really giving me a good vision of. So I do think that, as Jeff had mentioned, we should hold that there's some comment, because when I spoke to someone at the Norwalk Boat Club there, they weren't even aware this was going on. And I said, this is actually this is in motion. This is, as far as I know, going to happen in the very near future. They were kind of blindsided by it. So their comment, and I didn't get any names from anyone, but one of the comments was that, in a normal situation with one or two barges, as kind of this picture deems, it's a challenge to get by. And they were also talking about a lot of debris that comes out through the river, especially when there's high rains, that gets stuck on their boats or on the front of the barges and things like that. So, they were asking if there's going to be some type of new, barge population. How is there going to be a schedule? Is there going to be a way they're going to be shuttled in? Is there going to have to be a waiting station out a little bit farther? They had a whole bunch of questions that I had no answers to, but I think as purveyors of the harbor, and the use by residents, including this boat club and others, I just think we needed to have some visibility on it and at least get some understanding of where in the next couple of months to years could there really be some bottlenecks here.
That's right. I mean, as far as we, being the Harbor Commission, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that runs smoothly in that case, and that all the parties concerned have equal right to that water. Norwalk Boat Club and ONG and Divine, but they have to work certainly in conjunction with each other, or some sort of coordinate their efforts, so that we do not have a problem of encroaching in that channel. I mean, that's our basic stipulation as far as navigation concerns.
But the
exactly. I don't disagree. I just don't think that I think it's a better solution if we try to keep people informed, like Divine Brothers, that this is starting up, so that they can get their ducks in a row. Because if they've been using wide barges, if you had that business, you would use a wide barge to get more stuff up there. If nothing was going on across the channel,
I
but
agree.
they need to be alerted to say, hey, you're gonna have a problem now. And looking at the aerial photographs we have, there will be a problem. And the boat club obviously has to be able to get their boats out 24/7, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If I were there, would be my expectation, to be able to get out through that gap anytime I needed to. So I think we're all on the same page. I think it's just that I don't always think that kind of backing up and writing a lot of letters to a lot of people is as good as talking to Tom Divine, or sending a letter to Tom and saying, hey, are you aware of this is going on? And we all need to work together to make this work. I think is a better approach. It's just my 2 cents.
All right, well, that's,
I think, Alan, that the unfortunate is that Bruce is going to get dragged into this, and my concern on that side is he going to have to be the referee to understand who's coming, who's going, and are people going to be looking at his inabilities or abilities to have authorization by some of the other towns that have made unfortunate discussion. So that's what I'm looking at. I just was very concerned about it, and I think it should be something where almost all of the participants are involved in a discussion or a meeting. But the way that it was described to us, and I forget if it was an attorney or someone else, was that everyone was given the information, was involved, and it seemed like most people that I'd been able to find down there had no idea when I was asking them questions.
And that's the, we could communicate with advertisements in the newspaper when it ought to be a better way to get communications out. Just people don't read the paper. I never read those ads in the funny little ad notice section either. So it's I don't complain about about the Norwalk Boat Club not knowing this is happening, but I think that there's a solution, and I think it's working the people together rather than and certainly I will tell Bruce that we support him in this. He's tight with the Norwalk police, who will kind of back him up in a flashing light kind of way, and have the kind of the authority as well to give him support. And we certainly support Bruce. And it shouldn't all fall on his shoulders, but they all have to work together, and they all have to work. The three entities we see here, the Boat Club, Divine, and ONG, have to function smoothly to make this work. And then if they can't, then it's going to go to court and be ugly, and nobody's going to be happy. So I just think we have to use a gentle hand.
Just on the north edge of that picture, Alan, you can also see the first of two rowing clubs that are right there. So I mean, it was just something that I'm concerned about, because I think as stalwarts of the harbor, that there should be at least another discussion, whether we're involved or they're not. That's my overall concern, is that Bruce is going to get thrown into the middle of this and have to be the judge, jury, and executioner about who's coming and going.
Yeah. Well,
I think that, and again, we keep saying that the Army Corps has an arrangement for all of this, but we can't find it. Is that still the case?
As
This has all been worked out in the past, right? And
Mr. Warren mentioned at the last meeting, that was a gentleman's agreement that was worked out after the navigation project was realigned, and it actually to deal with exactly the same issues, almost the same issues as we're dealing now. And the gentleman's agreement, we can go back and look at the minutes, but apparently it's not reflected in permits. Deep did a review of its permits issued to Divine Brothers and to ONG. And there's nothing in the permits having to do with encroachments into the channel, but those are all old permits. Now, the Corps of Engineers is currently doing the permit history, and they're checking their files with respect to ONG and Divine, and we haven't heard back from them as of tonight. But the thing that is correct, and Matt, I think Matt alluded to it, is pursuant to the Harbor Management Plan, the Commission has a responsibility for managing the federal navigation project in accordance with the Corps of Engineers open to all on equal terms guidelines. So that it is the Commission's responsibility, if there are problems that are associated, to try to resolve them. And again,
I don't disagree with you, Jeff. I just said we don't need to beat a dead horse here. So we're going to move on, but this is
all right.
it's obviously something that has to be resolved, and and I think it's easily resolved if we get the parties together rather than making
all right. Well, if it's
sending a lot of letters to deep and going that route. I just would start locally with the people who are involved and get this sorted out. If the commission wants to do that, then we should take the lead rather than
Well, we
writing letters. I think we have to make the phone calls and say, hey, we got to solve this. Or Bruce should, or we should do that with Bruce.
It's Owen Lee. The only thing that Bruce had to pass was about this. Bruce had not spoken with Kevin Savoy as of yet. And so, as you said, Alan, he wants to get with all parties and talk about it. So he hasn't done that yet, but his concern is also the barges in close proximity to each other. But we're not at that stage right now to even say that, everybody's informed down there and everybody is on the same page. That was his message for this evening.
I think that's the
Right,
first step.
Sorry, the two companies, they just have to work together, and if you encroach into the channel, then that's an issue, and fines need to be levied or whatever needs to happen, and the barges have to be moved at their expense. So they don't want to pull out a full barge
What,
back downriver. So I mean, they just have to work together, and if they encroach into the channel, they're not allowed to do that. So
what we'll need going forward is good documentation on exactly where the channel is.
that's correct.
So
That's a good point.
where is that?
We have the surveys and you can go online to the Core Z Hydro site and see the revised channel that was accomplished in 2007, I believe, in the Water Resources Development Act. So we have the Core survey is online. We have the drawings of where the channel was prior to the realignment and where it is now.
So where is, like, so say we have it, I mean, is it in a box in John's study there? I mean, where is it?
No,
The electronic file that we
file.
shared among ourselves, and we can post it
Okay.
on the city website.
I think wait a minute, I thought I had that.
But the channel narrows to 40 feet.
Right.
Wide.
So if it's 35 feet from the bulkhead, that's as far as they can go out. It's
That doesn't have the channel, John.
No, it doesn't have
it's
that.
that simple.
No, that's an old, that's from an old,
If the barges are more than 30 feet, 5 feet wide, and they're not flush to the bulkhead, then the channel is encroached upon the 40-foot width of it.
So both entities need to know that.
Which they do. O&G was involved with all of this work when we did it, and so was Divine.
Okay, and then it has to just be enforced then. That's
Yes,
all.
it hasn't been enforced.
Well,
Yeah,
also,
and I understand
Yeah,
why,
it-
because, there was
it didn't
room.
really need to be.
Right.
You know, John, these are, I'm just gonna make it a comment here, though. I saw these drawings before. And I've never seen these before, and I'm sitting in the application review committee, so here they are. So I don't understand.
these
Um,
are old, these are from this is, I think 1993. No, 80, no, here, this is 86.
Those are part of the old permit.
This is the old permit here that was sent to
Ah.
us from DEP.
And where do these things exist? Does the city have these or no? Are they
DEP,
in Jeff Stedman's computer or
No.
I don't understand why
no,
we don't have these things when we're making doing our reviews and things.
well, we do have, we did, this predates this is
Sure.
9/20/86. This is from Deep. This is an
Okay.
application from Deep that we requested. They had that. But we have most of especially during the dredging issue that we have those documents from the Army Corps. We have that, and I'm pretty sure the city should have those, because we did, at the time. I can go back and check that, but we have the channel lines, we have that all marking, especially when we had to realign the channel up around that area when Dave Donovan was involved in that.
Understand. It's really in this day and age of, and I'll stop talking. I'm just very talkative tonight. But this day and age of technology and digital documents, there's just no reason that this information shouldn't exist at the city level, and frankly, that all commissioners shouldn't have access to it by address or project, or active commissioners to look at these things. I'm just going to ask that when we do application reviews in the future, we get.
Everything that we get, Alan, is submitted. It's submitted to Amelia. Everything that we have.
Yeah, but does it
But
get to
like-
the people on the committee?
Right.
Well, again, we've changed hands at a number of times. We had Frank Strauss years ago, information he kept there. Where that is, I'm not exactly sure. Frank Strauss was,
Frank was previous Amelia, is that?
that's correct. Yeah. And he
Okay.
passed away. And before Frank, it was,
That's okay. That doesn't
Well,
matter.
the
It's just that we-
application right there says it's 200 to 300 feet in length and 35 to 50 feet in width. So
any event. All right, well, let's wait. Well, the only comment I can make is we can wait until Kevin Zavoy and Matt meet. We'll attend that meeting, if we can attend that meeting with him to learn any additional information, and then come up with sort of a game plan after that, after we hear from DEP and the harbor master and how they want to present that. And maybe Mr. Lee will be involved in that as well. All right. All right, well, that's it for,
Thank you all.
all right, so we
Thank
can,
you, John.
all right, I yield, application review.
So do I.
All right.
Amelia, do we have any correspondence?
The only correspondence I received was that email that was forwarded to everyone earlier this afternoon.
From P and Z? Right, planning and zoning?
It was the email from Linnell Jones that she'd asked me to
Oh, that
forward.
one.
Yes, that was the only thing I had received.
That was distributed to everybody?
Yes, she asked that it be sent to harbor commissioners and harbor masters. So if you did not get that, please let me know and I'll be happy to forward it.
All right. So that's something for us all to read. If we need to put it on an agenda, we should.
Well, if I can say so, much of the information that is listed here that she presented was what I gave Amelia to put on our website. Starting with the table of contents all the way through document, it's HC1. It starts off at HC is Harbor Commission 1, and it goes to 1, let's see, 1, 2, 2A, 2B, 3, and 3A. There's several documents that went along with that. So what she sent to us is basically what we have on our website. Or Amelia, did you upload that information on the website?
Yep, everything you sent me got posted,
Yeah,
all of the
so-
PDFs with the table
so
of contents.
That's what Linnell just sent around, and sort of, yeah, reintroduced that. It was the Eversource, the photo, the route that we mapped out, that was mapped out. That's Harbor Commission 1, telling the history. I can pull it up here, just to refresh everyone's memory here. This is the document here. Let me see if I can get this open here. How do I open this here? What's this here? Oh, let me stop share. Stop share, and let me get share. That was this document here that we, this is the Walk Bridge transmission line starting from the history when they first started the project, the location, the history of where those lines originally were put. So that was the first document there, and then the various letters that were sent that were signed by Mr. Kibbe, Mr. Bardish, and also former chairs Dennis Santella and also John Romano, letters that were sent on behalf of this overall the transmission line project that we have here. So that's what's up on the website right now, right? And that's what she sent around.
So, any questions?
I think, John, I know we weren't allowed to ask any questions at that walkthrough today.
Well, I
But-
found out that we were allowed to ask questions, but we couldn't ask questions in risers, and riser was right there. You
Oh.
know, we could, so when we talked to Sue Jacobson, we were able to ask questions. Sue Jacobson with the DEP, along with Emily Hertz and Bianca. They were there, so we did
Gotcha.
ask questions.
So
Yeah.
I guess the legal issue was, okay, now you're putting these lines under the existing docks at the visitor center at the City of Norwalk's main docking area.
Yeah.
That could potentially be, not able to have any construction redesigns, changes, adaptations, etc., due to subcontractors' fear of not going anywhere near these, transmission cables. Is how do we talk about the legal aspect of it, because it seemed like everybody kind of pushed away, and all we're really looking for is, okay, if you're going to put these lines under our docks, other than telling us we have to have these massive signs that say keep away, high tension wires, no anchoring, no this, no that, is there a way to the legal department for the city to have an agreement that says if you put these here and there's any issue with the city in perpetuity, you are not just, it's, we talk about the $50,000 they gave as a donation in case we want to redesign something. No, you're responsible for the difference of any project going forward, because that just so handcuffs us to possibly doing anything down at that wonderful gem of the city in the future. That was my only major concern.
That's good. Yeah. Well, I think,
I agree, but I agree with Matt, but that, the city is kind of signed off on that. It's the city's development too down there, and they cut that off for themselves. So, at some point you have to say, well, we can, I think what's more telling to me is we were never, really didn't have any voice at the table through any of this to really express the Harbor Commission's view or the harbor's point of view on this. And that's too bad. And you
For
can't
that
blame
ship
that on
sail
anyone.
that
It's just the
they
city
can't add that?
didn't want to listen.
The entire process, I've said the same thing.
ever
They,
since,
they can't add anything like that at this point, Al? Or Al?
They have started excavating both Elizabeth Street and Fort Point Street, coming toward the two ends of this underwater section. So at this point, it's kind of hard to. I mean, yeah, we could, but I don't know how you'd. And I don't know how. There's a lot of money invested now, and who's going to say, "Oh, we'll just change the route now." I think the only thing you can ask for is to make it deeper, so that it's out of harm's way for everywhere, or ask for that Eversource is going to be responsible, if it ever has to be moved or there anything
Yeah,
associated with it.
I'm looking at this point, since the horse seems to be out of the stable, to go to what you're mentioning there, option C, which I just want someone other than the city of Norwalk and the Harbor Commission to be, held liable, that if we all of a sudden we want to have a high-speed ferry to New York City coming out of there, and we can't because whatever construction we need to do to facilitate that at that location is going to be in contact with those lines, or it can't be X amount of distance away from the lines. It's up to Eversource or whoever's doing this project to be responsible for any of those other costs, not us. That's what I'm saying. We as a Harbor Commission are kind of being, handcuffed as to what potential things we could bring to the area or do into the space in the many years to come.
I think the horse is out of the barn on that, in many ways. But I think we have to keep raising those issues and making the point intelligently. But again, it's a we don't want those cables there, but I don't know how, other than lying down, in front of a bulldozer, how we change that at this point.
we started making those comments, Alan, back in 2016, 15, when we first met with
Yes.
Mark Wellman. This whole
Absolutely, and it's all on the record, and it's all ignored.
Well, she ignored it, and then when the city went ahead to develop this agreement, DPW was the one that was actually took the spearhead on this and moved forward with this, probably with all pie in the sky, that Eversource was their friend, and Eversource was going to take care of everything, when all of a sudden money started to be flashed around, whether it was the $416,000 that was used for the city streets, and then $50,000 for revamping the park, for the Harbor Commission the visitors dock, and then the Shellfish Commission. That they're very, very pleased about that. Little did they think about is, again, what happens in the near future, and as far as safeguarding the city's responsibility for any future development there. And like you said, $50,000 is not going to cover any new construction that comes up, and when we have to call in a special crew to deal with these high tension wires in that area, the cost is going to be driven up quite remarkably, because your garden variety construction company that would normally put in a dock would normally have to deal with high tension wires, these 215 kilovolt tension wires down at certain area. I need special equipment. I need this. I need special attention. That's going to drive up the cost of doing business.
Yeah, and that's correct. And you also have to have Deep's successor involved to show you where the cables are and to kind of oversee the work. That's another cost that.
There you go.
So, it's
And obviously,
I don't know that we can really solve this.
Obviously, they didn't.
I just think
They didn't.
I think that.
And Eversource gave them a bill of goods, and they just signed off on it. Right. Yeah.
Let me do my my
So,
report now.
all right. All right.
Because I'll summarize some of this, I think, and then we can get going here.
I'm going to sign off.
Just so everybody understands, we've been pursuing a public hearing on this with Deep. Deep initially didn't want to have a public hearing about this project. The part of the project the hearing is about is simply the crossing of the river with these cables. It's not how you get to either side coast of the river, how it's undergrounded under Vets Park or under Elizabeth Street. That's not part of what this hearing is about. It's just about the river crossing for their cables. That's it. All the rest of it, Elizabeth Street to the west and the off to the east is all previously approved by the city of Norwalk. They said this is great to bury this. We're go right ahead. What didn't help at all is a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, the Hour reported how this project was going to be implemented, and they said it was going to be micro tunneled all the way from the police station in South Norwalk all the way to the hat factory on Van Zandt Street by micro tunneling. And that means it would be bored underground with no surface interruption or any digging or anything like that, which is a bunch of non-factual material. I mean, it's not true. And what's happened, and I've been in contact with the Hour, and I'm trying to get them to retract all that. And they're starting to be a little concerned now because I suggested that they were deterring people from coming out to complain by their saying, "Oh, this is going to be a piece of cake and it's not going to impact anybody." So that's that. But their article really said it was going to be a tunnel for 3/4 of a mile that had the cables in it and under the river and everything, and there'd be no. And the implication with that is there's no open trenching or anything, and we know that's not true. We had a site meeting today. I just want to report on that. It was an opportunity for the hearing officer to look at the site and to see what's in her own way. She's the one that has to rule on this or make a decision. So she wanted to see the site and what it looked like and get this all straight in her mind. There was no opportunity for asking questions or comments. It was really just in my part of it, it was just a chance to look at it. We have a public hearing that's scheduled for May 29th. You have to register if you want to speak at that, register in advance. The registration information is on the DEEP website. That's the easiest way to register. The code or the address for the meeting is it's 76 characters long that you have to type in uppercase, lowercase, symbols, in no particular order to register for this meeting. You could I can give it to you typewritten and you can copy it in, or it's easier to go to DEEP's website and they have a link that you can click on to do that, so you don't have to type all that crap in. But it's kind of a daunting process. But to speak at that hearing, May 29th at 6:30, you have to be registered. It's going to be public comment. Each commenter is limited to 3 minutes. And there's no opportunity at that meeting for open discussion. Once again, there's no question and answer. None of that. It's just your people talking. And then there's a deadline of June 5th for written comments. So if people don't want to talk about it, they can write all their comment down and send it in before June 5th. So we need to decide who amongst us wants to speak at this meeting is going to speak. I don't know if we can do that tonight or if we have to. But I'd like to get everybody who wants to speak organized so that we don't all repeat each other, so that we can take our case and divide it into amongst several people, so we really cover all the points at least.
That's
And then the next thing is there will be an evidentiary hearing on June 6th at 9:30 in the morning. That's a Zoom meeting. And that's where, again, the hearing officer will present all the information she has gathered in terms of written comments and what was commented in the public meeting, and will issue her decision. I mean, it's really not a vote that I understand at all. It's really the hearing officer's 2 cents after she's collected all this information and read all these opinions. So that's what's ahead of us. I just wanted to get that settled down. So I think that it's important for us to one, let me know if you want to be a talker, a speaker, so we can make sure everybody gets registered for that. If you're going to do want to do written commentary, I'd like to know who wants to do that, and we can talk together pretty quickly now, and just about how we want to do that, and who's going to, and certainly people are going to speak. We should coordinate that since it's only 3 minutes a person. So if there's 5 points to be made, we should divide them up amongst us rather than if we're all on board with that, rather than being individually. Laura, you have your hand up.
Just a quick technical question, it may be for Amelia. Alan, I thought it was a little weird because it looked to me like you had to register to attend even, not just to speak, but I may have misunderstood that.
I think you have to register to attend, I believe.
Correct. That is
Yeah.
correct.
So even if you don't plan to speak, you still need to register.
Correct.
Alan, should we, just the final comments or written comments are June 5th. Should we maybe get together and maybe as the commission and discuss the possibility of just submitting what we've already written? We've written a number of, letters, and just iterate what we had written in the past and submit that.
I think that's a good part of it. I think the other thing is if there's any later comments, anything that comes after what we've already said, to sum it up.
Statements.
But there are a lot of questions. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we really need to, like, what kind of signage is it going to be? I asked the gal from Deep today, and she said, "Oh, well, that because it's this application in the front of us is only for the river crossing piece of this, that any signage that's going to be on the land is the city's problem to design and specify." And it really hasn't been decided now. And I worry about having a 8x10 piece of plywood standing there on legs painted orange. It says, "Danger, Will Robinson, stay away." And that's the last message we want to send about our harbor. Is
The other thing to that is that we could probably have a sign saying the only rough current we have in our harbor is underneath our dock.
That's good. I like that.
Oh.
So if you would, just if you do a show of hands, or just send me a note if you wanted to speak, or if you're going to want to write a letter, or just and who wants to participate, because I think that's really really important that we get our act together and sort of coordinate the message. And I don't want it to be I just want to be sure everything that needs to get said gets out, that everybody has an opinion or some nuance of this, like signage, that we hit on all those things that should be mentioned. I'll just bore you with my experience in Bridgeport Harbor, where they've got a beautiful new marina, nice seafood restaurant, looks lovely. Then you sit in your slip at the dock and you look over toward the power plant, and there's the world's biggest plywood sign that says, bright yellow, and it says "Danger," buried electrical cables, 1 million volts or something. I mean, it's jarring when you're trying to sit there in their seafood restaurant and you have to walk past all this stuff. It's really just not right and unfortunate. And I just don't want to have Norwalk be the same kind of a place, like you're afraid to, dip your finger in the water that you might get toasted. So that's really what I had to say on the Eversource update. I don't know if I skipped anything.
I know that she said that there was an opportunity for us to email them questions, but then I believe at the end they said that there isn't a guarantee that those questions will be answered. So I was a little confused.
Exactly. You kind of have to assume that the hearing officer will pay attention to things that make sense and that aren't frivolous. I think that's the leap of faith we have to take. And she seems like a reasonable woman.
Well, she's also under the guidance that any comment from the Harbor Management Commission has no more bearing than an individual from the general public.
That's right.
She's the one that made
We
that
can be
loud and clear to us during the DOT Walk Bridge application project. That, you know,
Absolutely.
our comments mean nothing.
Right. But I think that I think you can be articulate and charming and make your point. So I don't want to throw my hands up, but I think that we have to give it a go. So that's my commentary. If you'll please get to me what your intent is for this meeting in terms of, I want to be a speaker, I want to write a letter, or I'm not interested. I'm fine with any of that from us, but we need to organize our presentation for that. So we can move on to staff reports. Owen, do you have a report from the harbor master?
The only thing Bruce had to pass, like I said, was about the barges. The other thing is the harbor master boat that is undergoing repairs right now. And that should be completed in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
We're continuing to look for a replacement vessel as well.
Yeah, so the city, we spec'd out 3 different boats. The city has those 3 different boats. I can forward, there was an email chain of several folks. I believe you were forwarded on those as well.
Yeah.
And all of the specs for those boats are available if anyone wants them.
Perfect. Thank you, Owen.
Well, let me ask how this new boat's gonna get paid for, as I can put on my treasurer hat.
So I don't do payment, but what I understand is that there were several projects that can no longer be completed due to, I don't know, but that's where the funds are coming from.
So they'll come from the city, and not from the harbor commission.
That is correct. That is my
Yes.
understanding.
That is correct. It's, you know, it's, no money's guaranteed, of course, so, yeah, Owen did a lot of work to spec out a boat with Bruce. So, you know, we'll see what happens. The big thing is that we have to get the harbor master boat on the water as soon as possible.
Correct.
And that
Thanks,
cost,
Owen.
since you asked, Chris,
Yeah.
you know, that cost is going to be around $6,500. Needs a new lower unit, needs new power trim and tilt, needs tune up. So it's extensive work that it's needed.
Okay.
You know, and going forward, we really have to not be afraid to spend money in the future and budget money for
We can-
regular maintenance on the harbor boat. You know, that's
Yep,
That's a line item now, right, Chris?
that.
Yeah, we can get into that where we stand with all the budgets, because I did a little bit deeper dive this month than I usually did.
I appreciate that, but you know, we have to look at the maintenance is critically important to that vessel, and we shouldn't be. I mean, we shouldn't throw money at it for things to hang on the rearview mirror. But on the other hand, we need to do the maintenance that's necessary to make it reliable and dependable for its purpose. So that's and it's a tough call because a lot of people use that boat. You know, the police use it, the shellfish use it, the harbor master uses it. So that's tough on a vessel as well to have a lot of operators. Consultant Stedman.
Just have a few things to say. The Norwalk River Watershed Initiative met this month, and there was discussion about the redoing the Norwalk River Watershed-based plan. I think I mentioned this last month, but this commission was actively involved in working on that plan at the beginning, and also arguing that it should be prepared for the Norwalk River Watershed, in large part because of the estuary support of shellfish resources. So the commission was actively involved in the preparation of that document a long time ago. Sea Grant has obtained funds to hire a consultant to do this work. I don't know that the consultant has been hired yet, but the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative Group, which is the 7-town group, would act as an overseer of the work. And we asked if there would be in-person meetings with the consultant to discuss this, and they said they would try to work towards that. Again, some of the issues that are going to be addressed that were, well, not so much the last time, is the question of resiliency, building in the floodplain, and also the continuation of the concerns about stormwater runoff and stormwater pollution. The Harbor Watch Group mentioned that they're working on an initiative called the Urban Waters Project to show the relationship of between runoff from the more urban areas in the watershed and water quality of the sound. And we mentioned that we've already did a substantial report in that regard, which was the report some years ago when Professor Hart analyzed data upstream in the watershed and related it, made matching pairs with the data in the harbor that was collected by the Bureau of Aquaculture, and made the finding that the bacteria counts in the harbor, the elevated counts, were the result of runoff in the urban part of the watershed and not in the upstream watershed, which sounds sort of intuitive, but we had the statistical analysis to do that. And we're sharing that report with the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative. The other thing that's interesting is the legislation that was acted on in the past legislative session. And one of the significant bills that was passed changes the way the Siting Council, Connecticut Siting Council, does business. And the purpose of that bill, the stated purpose of that bill, is to correct the regulatory bias of the Connecticut Siting Council in favor of the utility companies. And doesn't do us any good now, but you can remember our experience before the Siting Council when they approved the Eversource route. But that legislation is the result of an issue that developed in Fairfield, and the Fairfield's legislators pushing that legislation to really change the way the Siting Council does business. It makes a municipality automatically an intervener in the Siting Council process. It also provides for the retention of independent experts to review. There's a whole bunch of things. Unfortunately, it doesn't affect what's taken place in Norwalk. In terms of the approval of the relocation of the lines. There are also several land use bills that I think Amelia probably knows more about the status of, that the other towns discussed as quite problematic, that emphasize the provision of housing over environmental protections, including as of right conversions of commercial buildings to residential development. There was also one bill that created a new office in the Office of Policy and Management that would have certain local land use authorities in terms of approval of residential development. So the concern in a number of other towns was that the emphasis and the importance of providing affordable housing and new housing development is diminishing environmental protections. I don't believe that both of those bills passed, but again, Amelia would know more about it than I do. The SHIP grant, the Small Harbor Improvement Projects Program grant from the Port Authority that we're pursuing for the construction of the East Norwalk Marina at Veterans Park. We're working on that. The executive director of the Port Authority and also the finance director were to visit the site the day that the thruway caught fire. So they made it to Stamford by Barrett Parkway, but they declined to try to get back to Norwalk that same day. So we're working on a hopefully in the next week or so, or 2 weeks, that they will visit and have a firsthand look at what we're applying for. And Vanessa said today that the city has received all of its permits now to enable construction of it. And so we're working on that. And then, of course, the Eversource public comment period. Again, it's what it is, and try to do the best we can and make the points known. But I think that there was something else, but that's the end of my report, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Yield to Commissioner Bartosh, Chairman Commissioner Bartosh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really quickly, we just had one item on our agenda that intersected with this commission, and that was 72 Shorefront Parks application for the pier, dock, and ramp combination. We did a site inspection and passed it with standard language with the addition of the pile cutouts of peat /bog being recommended to be transplanted. We have worked with DEEP, and it looks like that they will mandate that such that that biomass is not lost to the environment. But that's all I really have. Thank you. Eat Norwalk shellfish, and remember those this weekend who made the ultimate sacrifice so we can talk about shellfish and the harbor. And I yield back, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Bartos. Any questions, for Steve? Hearing none, we'll move along. Mooring and harbor safety, Mr. Mangles.
Alrighty, so as far as mooring, so the new mooring buoys were ordered from Gilman directly. They're going to be delivered to Norm Edwards, 8 of them in total. We're going to be looking for some deeper water for larger, deeper draft vessels, sailboats mainly. So we're going to be looking around where we might be able to station that with a single point mooring. Speaking of transient moorings, reservations are coming in from DOCWA. We've had a completed reservation already where they spent the night and gave us a 5-star rating and actually a glowing review for Norwalk and the recreation and parks and everybody else who was involved in helping them. So it was fantastic. Like I wrote it or something, and as a pen name or something, it was so good. We did have to cancel reservation for a sailboat. That boat had a 7-foot draft. We just couldn't accommodate it. I was trying to figure out where we can put it even on the city dock, but they can only guarantee 6 feet. Even though I do know that it's a little deeper over there, but if we are only going to guarantee 6 feet, then we don't want the liability. So the managed fields payment was made by Rowayton and Norwalk Yacht Clubs. Norwalk Yacht Club made a slight error in their payment, so they owe about $350 left. Sprite Island, the treasurer was on vacation, but the check is in the mail, and or it's in somebody's hand, and they're going to drop it off at City Hall. So that'll be all 3 managed fields will be paid up for the second payment. As far as safety is concerned, it's I just wanted to reiterate the harbor master vessel that needed repair, and with the walk bridge project going on and other needs of that vessel, that has to get done and get on the water. So other than that, and I already discussed what was needed with it. Other than that, that's the only things I have. So that's my report.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? Yeah, it's a very nice job. It's great to have it.
Yeah, I don't
Go
have
ahead.
a question, but Jeff, my first reaction was, oh my God, did Jeff write this?
Yeah, no kidding. I was
It,
like,
it was
wow,
literally my first, like, really?
this is a lie. But
It
no,
was great. It was so good.
Yeah, and Alan, you shared it with the group, with the
Everybody-
commissioners. It
And
was
everybody
just
at City Hall too, the mayor
yeah,
and everybody else.
yeah, and I shared it with Recreation and Parks because they are a huge help. So Pam and Ken and everybody else over there. So absolutely fantastic. We're working really well together, and you know, if I'm ask for anything, they're right there.
Where were the visitors from, Jeff? Where were they from?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look.
Oh, I see. I mean, they
I
were
can
from
let you know though.
across the pond. I mean, Long Island.
Oh,
or-
they come from far and near. But
Okay.
you know, I could probably look that up and let you know where they were coming from.
I mean, because years ago, we used to keep tabs. As a matter of fact, I was given the charge years ago of keeping tabs of the types of vessels and the lengths and where they were come from that were moored at the visitors dock. So we have all kinds of data with regard to the number of vessels, the size of the vessel of mooring at the visitors dock during probably about 4 or 5 seasons. You know, so
Yeah, the beautiful thing with DOCWA is that you could just run a report. It gives you the length, everything that you need to know.
Those
Well,
folks were from O-line.
This was pre DOCWA and pre everything at the time, right?
So,
Yeah.
just to ask a question, is it appropriate to, DocWa is I think it's a wonderful platform, for making reservations. Do you think it's appropriate to approach Recreation and Parks about using that for, the voting center? I don't know what they use now. They take phone calls or,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
You might be able
Well,
to
we
make
did
a
that.
call up and do a reservation.
You
We
can
can-
call up and do a reservation, or you can obviously call them over VHF.
We kept
I don't
tabs.
have a, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. So we kept tabs on vessel size and with regard to, because we had the station for a pump out station. And we were getting funded for that. And, we had to document the size of vessels that were using, number of vessels that were using that facility and the size vessels that were coming in, or that were accommodating them, right, basically. So
It just might be appropriate to think about, getting everything onto one platform for Vanson, Stockage and Norwalk. I just think the DOCWA is a friendlier experience than having to call somebody and to make a reservation. Also, I think that it's, there's an assumption made that the voting center is just going to be used by, local people for coming to downtown. And I think there's not a real realization that people, come from Port Jeff to come and have lunch and things like that, which is, I think, important to the city. Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate it.
To answer that question, that was Massachusetts they came from.
oh,
Wow. Just for Norwalk, right?
Well, they were going into the city, but yeah, it was a stop. It was a destination, which is good, and they
That's
really
right. We're-
enjoyed themselves.
And we're a better, for an out of towner, we're a better destination than we think we are in many ways. It's a great place. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Mr. McDonald, Finance. Thank you for the reports, by the way. It was really great to see those.
you're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Chris.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is actually a copy of what we submit to the city for our budget. And since what we report to the city on is their fiscal year, July 1st to June 30th. And then this is the active column of the actuals to date. So this is basically through April. I didn't get a report from Mary Ann, but I had a lot of information from into April. So and then whatever receipts that Jeff had been sending me along. So this is fairly up to date. The harbor master stipend is straightforward, and that will just run out to 12,000 roughly. I don't know if we'll have any summer interns on billed to us before the fiscal year. We overran a little on the water quality. We never used up any newsletter or printing and duplication funds, or for that matter, any education and seminar funds. We still have money in the budget for harbor master safety equipment. We were carrying $12,000 for transient mooring. This might be misallocated. I think we had it combined between new transient moorings and that. So if we can get any billings for those new buoys that we've ordered, and we can credit that against this fiscal year, we have plenty of money for that. The no wake buoys, that initiative died, I guess, with Deep. The online mooring system is billed out a little more than we thought it was going to be. DOCWA fees, surprised that's not in here yet. I think we did get a bill for that, and that hasn't been updated yet. Harbor Master vessel maintenance, we only had $2,000 budgeted, and we spent some of that already. But we had $3,000 in, for example, for abandoned vessels that hasn't been spent. So we have only, we had budgeted 77,000. We had only spent 40,000 to date. In terms of expenditures. In terms of revenues, we basically have already exceeded what we anticipated for revenues for the year by a little bit. We had, with the new mooring fee increase in transit moorings, that we'll get a little bit more there, but we've got more, the mooring fee permits. You know, and I'm not sure. So let me, I guess the other point I wanted to make is we have received nothing from the city grant that we applied for, not this December, but December in 22. We've not received any of that money, or the health department grant for the interns. And I'm not sure we have any agreement with Shellfish at this point. So Jeff and Alan, the report from Marianne was out this week, so I couldn't verify what these were, but we had 3 deposits of fairly large numbers here, $9,000, $4,000, and $2,000 and change. Jeff, you thought those were, and these came in March, so I don't know if those were the managed fields at that point, or.
That's payment 1 of the managed fields.
Okay. And I randomly assigned them to the clubs based on previous, but okay. So yes, so we've done, we're already ahead of budget in terms of receipts for revenues from managed fields. But I'm sure we'll have a little bit more for Docwa in May and June. Yeah, we got a tooth that the other form didn't update. This Docwa / Wonderlust. I had to go figure out who Wonderlust is, but apparently they're the owners of Docwa or whatever. The bill comes from Wanderlust. Wanderlust, $2,000. And Mr. Stedman has not billed out his budget for the year. So Jeff, if you want to, I think the last one, I don't know what the last one was, billing period was through. If it would help us out if you wanted to bill your hours to date, to try to get that paid out in this fiscal year.
Thank you, Bruce.
Sure. And we'll do our best to get that. That doesn't always happen so quick. But yeah, so you know, I'm not sure who we talked to about the city grant. And the other thing is, it doesn't look like we're even, you know, we're already ahead for the year. So this bottom line is cash period ending. So we began the fiscal year with 31,000 in the bank, and we now have 41,000 in the bank. So you know, depending on how much remains for Jeff will get billed, or what we'll have to lay out this period for both boat maintenance and mooring field improvements. We certainly budgeted those, but you know, the budget.
Moorings are here, right? Or Jeff? The moorings are en route or here?
The balls, you mean the cans? Yeah, they've
Tackle
been
and all that?
ordered. They've been ordered.
In order, yeah.
But
Have they been billed?
We gave a PO. So I don't know if they've billed us yet, the city yet. Once they satisfy the order, I'm
Right.
sure that's when the bill is going to be
and is the chain
generated.
and tackle? We have to buy chain and tackle and yada yada yada.
Chain and tackle is fine now, is still okay.
Right.
There may be some additional tackle anchors, mushrooms,
Right.
that we'll purchase. So if you're asking me to spend some money, I will.
Well, do you have a budget number for what's already been ordered?
3750.
Okay.
Thereabouts, 3754 actually.
Right. All right. And I'll just bring this up because we'll be rolling into next fiscal year budget soon. We budgeted an increase for the harbor master. Now, I'm assuming that needs some kind of action. I'm not sure what.
I
I'll
think
leave it
part of it was thinking about bridge work on the water over the winter months.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we could all think of 10 reasons for it to be justified, and I agree. But how do we actually give him a raise?
I think we could vote on that. Have a proposal and we decide.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a payroll issue. It's a stipend.
stipend we had a task, monthly task that he had to meet, our harbor master had to meet. And if they met those tasks, we then, okay, I think it was $1,000 at a time.
Yeah, do you have a copy of those tasks? And do they need to be updated? And what about the deputy harbor masters? Because they
Well,
too are
Yes,
going
Yeah.
to be very busy.
yes. But that was a suggestion that I made earlier that, in addition to our harbor
Mhm.
master, our deputy harbor masters need also compensation for the work that they do.
Well, what we budgeted was we raised it from 12,000 to 18,000, so from 1,000 a month to 1,500 a month. That's what we put in the budget. And
All right.
I'm just saying if we need to do that, then let's figure, somebody make a motion or put together whatever backup we need to make the motion. So we
Well,
can do it. So we can do it next month and have it in place for July.
Yeah, I think the discussion there is also, it's between the harbor master and the marine police about the coverage that's really required for the bridge work, over probably the next year.
Well, we've
Certainly
never,
next 6
never
months.
we never reimbursed the marine police on that. It was just our harbor master. It was always under our purview.
That's right.
DOT was supposed to provide funds for that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's sort of, I mean, we have to set a stipend budget. We set a stipend budget. What do we have to do to change the actual stipend? Or create an additional stipend for deputy harbor masters.
I will look into that. I think it's just a vote of the commission.
Well, I can send
Yeah.
around the tasks that we had previously set for the harbor master, send those around and these can be tweaked a little bit. Because
Sure.
Also added responsibility of dealing with the Walk Bridge project.
Yeah, no, certainly that would be good to have in the record as backup for our vote.
All right.
Now, we don't directly pay the deputy harbor masters out of our harbor commissioner funds. So
We
that's
have it in
the
the
police
past.
department.
No,
Right.
actually, the police department used to get funding from the mooring registration fees that went to DEP, and we got, I think it was $25,000 back for mooring registration fees, which went the way of all flesh as far as the DEP is concerned, several years back. This is based on some tax base, whatever it was, and that money is no longer available to us. But that money that the city got went directly to support the Marine Police
In lieu of taxes.
in lieu of tax. Yeah. But that's no longer available. So we have not, as I said, funded or did any compensation for work for the Marine.
I've not seen, again, since the time when I started doing the treasurer job before Chris, I never saw anything that went to anybody except the harbor master. Now we have 2 deputies. So I'll look into that as well. I'll figure out where that.
I'll dig
how
out,
that works.
I'll dig out the harbor master tasks list. I'll send it around.
Yes.
It was on a monthly basis. It was on a 12-month basis.
When did he have to wash the boat?
He left that up to the deputy, no?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, that, I don't think I had I made some points in the email there. I think I covered all that. I don't think we have anything, you know, we incur we do actually subsidize. Well, I guess the other thing is we have to track down whatever money we're gonna get from both from the city and from the health department. Because the water quality interns, we're already paying for some of that and their expenses, a lot of testing expenses. So the bill for that last year was almost $9,000, and we got $5,000 from the health department for that.
That's a shared expense. I just don't know the people that share with the health department. Bill Mooney has been there for a while and knows what the arrangements are, but I'm not sure that everybody does. So that might be worth us just talking with them and seeing what they are contributing and what we could be contributing so that it's fair. And the shellfish as well, because the shellfish is part of that.
All of this gets billed directly to us, and what we have gotten is what we got last year was $5,000 for them to cover part of this. So we have, we have all the liability for any overruns, whatever escalation.
That's right. Well, why don't we go meet with the health department? You want to do that, Chris? You and I? Sometime?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'll see what I can find, and we find a time that we can just get together, because I think that needs to be straightened out or sorted out a little bit, just because I think the new health department doesn't really know what the old deal was and how the cost is supposed to be shared between Shellfish Harbor and the health department.
Right, because all of it gets billed against our budget, near as I can.
And then we get reimbursed from Shellfish and
We
health, I
have
believe.
not gotten anything from Shellfish, and certainly not in the
That was-
past fiscal year. I'm not sure in the last time we did receive anything.
Okay, so we need to work on that.
We didn't receive anything from Harbor in this year. Or the last time we received anything from the city, the 20,000 was December of 22. We did not receive anything since then.
Okay.
And my goal in pushing everybody to spend money is if we're gonna ask for more money and show more revenue, then we should really show that we're spending it and spending it wisely. I think we're spending it wisely. We're just not spending everything we're even proposing to spend.
That's right. And I think we should again, if anybody has any questions about this, is a lot of this has been carried on here for years. We have the sort of educational expense and things like that. And I don't know if anybody goes to conferences or does any of that sort of thing, but we seem to have a couple grand in there for that sort of thing.
We put it in last year to in case to support the Amistad visit, but that ended up being covered by the schools, by Norwalk Public Schools and the Seaport Association. So that's part of the reason that we put 2,000 in last year, but it just never it wasn't used.
But it never was taken out of there. And that's probably just an accounting thing, and nobody told them to do that in City Hall,
Well, no, that was me. I mean, I do this. Last year was the Amistad, and then in last fiscal year, we didn't need it. We budgeted to support the Amistad, and then it wasn't required. And then I think we put it in again for next year because you thought it was a good idea, Alan.
Yeah. Well, we should be doing something like that every year, and maybe we need a different name for the expense, but getting a vessel and getting something at the during the Oyster Festival that's about one of our causes or one of our missions. But we should talk about that. Are you all set, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really great to see everything organized and under control and easy to understand. So I appreciate all that work.
Sure.
Very good report.
Yes. Lori Jones, our new Director of Plans and Recommendations.
That's right. And what a nice segue talking about Amistad and plans for the Oyster Festival. So that's not actually what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about how I went to the bylaws to see what's involved in the plans and recs. And interestingly, the first thing it talks about is a periodic review of the harbor management plan. So we've already talked about that. And so I will take it upon my committee to initiate that. I know several people have raised their hand and wanted to be involved, which is great. So Alan, I'll start with you and we can figure out next steps on that. But that's going to be a great process. And
Lori, has Jeff been contacted about that?
nobody has. It hasn't been initiated.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, we have Jeff's name. I think Mike Matthews is interested. Chris McDonald is interested. People have just raised their hand, John, but literally nothing's been done.
We haven't started.
We had pushed it off because a lot of other stuff going on. So we had said it would sort of be a summer project.
Because I think that's critically important because again,
Yes, I agree.
this
Yeah.
so the harbor management plan that's coming up in parallel to what we plan to do, that we need to be on ahead of this curve as far as what we put into a harbor management plan, basically.
Okay, so so that's a big thing. And then I was actually reading the harbor management plan again and looking at the goals to see how those fit into the goals of what should be the goals of plans and recommendations. And we have 13 goals mapped out in the current plan. And my sense, and this is just my sense, is that we're pretty attentive to about 5 of the 13. And not surprisingly, it's where we spend our time. So a lot of it is application review committee attention, which is good. Mooring and harbor safety, we've got Bruce, we've got Jeff on the visitor moorings, and then our hopeful increased awareness through the newsletter, our renewed attention to that and the website. But there are a lot of others, and I think with our small but mighty team, we're doing what we can, but I hope to seize the opportunities on, paying more attention to the others and seeing sort of what we can do. And I think in doing that, it's going to be really important. And John, I'm sure you'll agree, to actually work with the city to see how we can be most efficient in our work so that we're not duplicating efforts. And so I'd like to meet with the city and Alan and really just have so we come away with a better understanding how we can work together. Like Jeff works so well with Recs and Parks, and what a difference that makes. So I'm confident that we can figure out a way to be most efficiently, most impactful in our work. So that's my report on plans and recs. Just ready to get going and see lots of opportunity.
Well, I'm convinced as far as what we've have together so far and what we've done with that harbor management plan, that there's probably going to be certainly minor tweaking to come up to par. But I think certain sections in that plan are pretty much almost etched in stone as far as what we need to do. But then again, I have no problem with sort of tweaking the verbiage a little bit to fit what's going on as far as our daily functioning of the harbor right now, especially we have to deal with for the next 8 years dealing with this Walk Bridge project, things like that. So,
okay.
Thank you, Lori. That's terrific. My observation, just as Lori's, is that there's a lot of goals there that aren't looked at in there. I think they're important goals that we just never get to, and I think that's something to look at about how we do that, and we'll just hire more people to do that, right, Lori? We'll just make our staff a little bigger and
Exactly. Wait till you see my subcommittee. No, I'm joking.
Thank you very much, Lori. Any questions for Lori?
Just one,
Jeff?
one question, and following up on what Lori said, again, to reiterate, my opinion is that the most important thing facing the Harbor Management Commission, and in terms of what the commission needs to accomplish, is to address the issue of the commission's authority relative to the state DEP decisions. And that's going to require a legislative change next year. So my opinion, absent some sort of change in recognition that the Harbor Commission has authority to even review applications to deep. All the rest of this stuff is nice, but that's the significant thing. That's like the existential matter before the commission. So nothing was accomplished this legislative session, even though DEEP said that they would interact with us and interact with other harbor commissions, but they didn't respond when we asked them to. And the year before, they killed the proposed legislation that would simply clarify the Harbor Commission's authority. So my opinion is that all this stuff is nice, but if we don't address that authority, the role of the commission is much diminished and really doesn't mean a whole lot.
Well, I think,
It's diminishing what the intent of the Harbor Management Act is. That's just my opinion.
well, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get together the CHMA chairs from the various commissions around the state, and we're going to bring this as one of the major topics of discussion as far as how we can sort of influence, I said, this change as far as this uninformed judge that made this decision about us not being able to review any application from the state. So this is sort of the topic of conversation amongst the various commissions. Alan, I'm going to send all our commission chairs an invitation to attend that meeting.
Yeah, we also need to get, John, I just keep realizing, I forget to say anything. Harbor Master Lavallo going on with the statewide level too.
Yes, well, the commission, the Connecticut Harbor Management Association has a harbor master representative that for all of the harbor masters in the state. So Bruce has certainly mentioned that he would like to stay involved in that as well. So yes, absolutely, sure, he would be invited as well. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. How about Lucia White? I'd like to give a real big attaboy to Chris for getting that our newsletter out. It's a pretty remarkable job. And it's really a remarkable achievement since it's been so long since we've had that. So I'm very grateful. And I have to tell you that it was kind of a blast playing paperboy around Norwalk. I'm actually, Chris McDonald's going to see a receipt for my new bicycle for delivery of the Harbor Commission newsletter. But it's people seem to be really excited about receiving that and putting it in their rack or putting it on the bar for customers to come, or on the counter for customers to pick up and take. I'm going to make another round this week to see if I need to replenish any of them. I gave every place I left them Amelia's coordinates to request more, and I don't think we've seen any requests for replenishment. So that is kind of a little disappointing, but I'm going to go around and look and see how those racks are and give them some more if they're gone. And, so I'll let you talk, Chris, instead of me, but I'm just really grateful for the job you've done, and I think we all are. It's really terrific.
Oh, no, thank you very much. We'll make sure to get those readership numbers up for the next one. I put together an outline just of some stuff that I've had that some things that Alan has sent me. If anyone has anything they'd like to be included in the newsletter, or anything we should talk about, or has any ideas, etc., I'm always available. Inbox is always open. Give me a call anytime. So if anything is pressing, let me know. I know I said this one last time, but I will have it. We'll have a draft of that going around before the next meeting. I've got a fairly crazy schedule recently, but we'll get something going there for you guys to review. And so if anyone has anything they'd like to send my way, let me know. And other than that, I think that's about the updates thus far. I've got we are underway and getting everything together.
Yeah, and again, thank you so much. Any questions for Chris? Anybody? That's great. Just a terrific job.
Just like the public hearing, I will not be answering any questions you submit, but I will think of them. And much like the public hearing, you need to sign up in advance to attend the public hearing, and there will be no questions.
That's right.
Gotta love
That's pretty good. I like
municipalities.
that. I like
Fine. Very, very good. Yeah.
that.
Following suit.
Mike Matthews, I got de-agended here, but anything on the Oyster Trail path, highway?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Well, as John pointed out, and I sent over to Jeff Stedman, we got scooped by our governor. So the state did put out a bit of a PR campaign for the Connecticut Oyster Trail. I joked with Jeff Stedman that explains why there's been radio silence over the last several weeks with the Connecticut Sea Grant, but no, hats off to them for putting out a promotional piece that does list a couple of our great local oyster establishments, of course, including Cops Island. This is a great opportunity now that we have a statewide kind of oyster PR program together for Jeff and I to continue pushing some of our local folks to make this a very real thing here. We do have the website. We do have a map of local establishments that is worked up, kind of a mock of it. I don't have all of the permissions from local folks that I need, including Cops Island. I have a couple commissioners working to kind of get me in contact with a couple of our local folks before we really move this thing back over to the city and take it to the next level. But that was really good momentum from the state. Again, there's more of a promotional, really nice looking map that puts Connecticut quite literally on the map for the Oyster Trail. So good momentum.
If you need any help getting in touch with the Blooms, let me know. They are my neighbors.
Appreciate that, Chris.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mike. Anything else we can do along that line? Any questions for Mike?
I could maybe say something, Alan, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Jeff.
Mike, again, sorry I contacted you right at the end of the day, but I did talk about the state initiative for the Oyster Trail with the director of the Bureau of Aquaculture, who was not actually involved in much in the preparation of it. And his thought was that is a sort of a general overview, but there's opportunities, and he said he would work with us to put more detail into this initiative with more local detail. And so as we talked about, we've prepared maps of the 1889 shellfish beds, the coast, and we've also got the good images from the murals in City Hall. So we're working now to develop a map where you can click on an area of the Norwalk shoreline, and that one of those images on the history of oystering that we took from the City Hall, which we have permission to do, will appear along with a little bit of a story. So that's what I told the director of the Bureau of Aquaculture and also Connecticut Sea Grant, which apparently wasn't that much involved in this statewide Oyster Trail initiative either. And so they're both interested in working with us and adding more detail to it with respect to Norwalk's oystering history. So I'll talk with you later, Mike, about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff. It'd be nice to kind of combine our efforts here. You've been really great with this, and it's interesting. I'm kind of being introduced to some of the Sea Grant and other folks who are working on parallel, but it seems siloed shellfish restoration efforts. And it's slowly, but surely coming together here. My thing is I certainly don't want to step on any toes with state folks. But we will get there, and people seem interested. So thanks for that, Jeff. I'll ping you offline on next steps.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Mike? Sure. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Water quality does not have a chairman, and therefore is, as far as I know, is not meeting, which is kind of unfortunate, but. That is what it is. Any new business that anybody has? I have one thought, and it was kind of, Mike kind of, reminded me. Have we ever taken like a little informational booth at the Oyster Festival of about the Harbor Commission? Is that something we should think about? Has it been done? Has it been tried? Would it be useful? Well, I see everybody jumping up and down at once. It's
No, I don't recall. We've never had our own individual booth. You know, I hope that we would get it free.
well, I would think we could, you know, cobble on with some other part of the city or something with that. I just wondered if that's something, or what we would do if we had such an involvement. You know, this has occurred to me several times, and I just haven't shared the thought. But it's something we could think about. It's a
Yeah.
way of making ourselves a little more visible, you know.
Yeah.
We could have alligator wrestling or something in our booth, or
That might get
Something-
the numbers up.
yeah, a whale wrestling. That would be good. Whale wrestling. You know, we get a couple whales in here, or barracuda dancing. There's all kinds of things.
And it might be great
Any
if we
other
could
new
actually
business?
sponsor
Was-
something. Sorry, I was saying
That's
at the
another-
Oyster Festival, maybe we could sponsor something sponsored by the Norwalk Harbor Commission as a way of greater visibility. And with that sponsorship comes a little booth.
Well,
I just think it has more
that-
heft than a booth. Anyway, we can talk about it.
Yeah, but I think it's something to think about. And we did that with the Amistad. That's the sort of thing. That was a big, kind of a giant thing. But you know, you talk about our involvement and our importance to the waterfront and to the city. I think we need as much visibility as we can get. You know, I think that a lot of times. Go ahead.
Well,
Sorry, Alan, I was just gonna agree. I'm certainly happy to sit there and help do any advocacy or tabling efforts. I always love to be there, and I think we would fit right in. And some of that legislative advocacy that Jeff was bringing up that we're gonna need to really be full court press on for next session. I think like this kind of builds up for that, right? To be more visible out in the community, shake some hands, say hello to the governor, and give him flack for scooping us on the Oyster Trail. I think it's definitely a good idea. So happy to sit there and help organize that.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Thanks for your input. Is there any other new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion, Laurie, is a second. Chris?
Seconded.
Was that a yes, Chris?
yes, second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, guys. Thanks for all your time. I really appreciate it. And looking
Yeah.
forward to a great summer season that we'll enjoy in the harbor. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alan.
Take care.
Good
Bye.
evening.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.